What's going down, YouTube family? It's your boy, Mike Macklin, aka Money Mike, the financial Thanos, because I'm snapping my fingers and I'm turning your financial problems to dust. Hey, I want to welcome you to my channel. If this is your first time tuning in, hey, I want you to please consider subscribing to my channel and also hitting that notification bell so you'll know exactly whenever I drop new videos. And if you enjoy this video, please do me another huge favor. I know I'm asking a lot, but do me one more huge favor and smash that like button so that YouTube realizes I'm putting out good content and they'll share more of it with you. But without further ado, today we're gonna get right into this thing. What I'm doing today, like I do every Tuesday and Thursday, is I'm doing reaction videos. Now today I want to get on the subject of debt. Debt is something that plagues a lot of people. I mean, it don't matter where in the world you are. Debt is something that a lot of people struggle with for whatever reason. And there's a lot of ways to address debt. Some people say just make more money. Other people say, just have a better strategy. Other people still say, live way below your means and, use that difference in money to knock out that debt. Now, what's important about debt is debt realistically keeps you kind of in a place where you can't really do big things like you want to. Now, bad debt, I'm gonna say, does that. Good debt, that's a whole nother story. But in any event, I actually found a video. I haven't watched it as usual. Haven't watched it yet, so we're gonna watch this together. But this video was talking about different ways to pay off debt. I actually, as you can see in the top here, I actually researched Debt Snowball, and this is kind of what came out of it. So we're gonna watch this thing together, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this thing.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Recently I got a comment from Danielle B. Hey Danielle. And she asked me if I had any videos about paying off debt or paying off loans, and I didn't. I've honestly really just started making videos for this channel not too long ago, have had my blog and podcast way longer. So you can check my blog out at jessicamorehouse.com, and of course my podcast is called the Mo Money Podcast. All of the episodes are on this channel, but of course you can listen to it on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere else you want to listen to a podcast. But since I'm coming out with more and more videos for this channel, I wanted to make sure that I did have a debt-related video. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 different debt payoff strategies you need to know about.
All right.
Okay, let's jump in.
That sounds like the boys and men.
First debt payoff strategy is the most popular and the most commonly known one. It is called the Debt Avalanche. And even though it is not exactly my personal favorite debt payoff strategy, it is the one that makes the most financial and kind of logical sense. So how the Debt Avalanche strategy works is, let's say you have 3 different debts. They all have different amounts, maybe you owe, $10,000, $5,000, and $1,000. And they all have different interest rates.
Right.
So $10,000, maybe the interest rate is 3%, $5,000, maybe it's 5%, and the $1,000 debt is charging you 10%. Well, with the Debt Avalanche, you would attack the most expensive debt first. So that means the debt that is charging you the highest interest rate first.
Thanks.
So in the example that I just gave, it would be the $1,000 loan that is charging you 10%. 10% is the highest interest you're being charged on all 3 debts, so that is the one that you would focus on. Once that is paid off, you would move on to the second most expensive debt, which would be the $5,000 loan that is charging you 5% interest. And then once that is paid off, you would move on to your last debt. Remember, it is not just about paying off one and ignoring the others.
Right.
In this strategy, you are always paying the minimum owed on all of your debts, but it's really just so you can focus on attacking one and getting that out of the way, and then number 2, and then out of the way, and so on. And usually in this strategy, you're also putting more than the minimum on that first debt that you really want to crush. So let's say the minimum for that first debt is $10 a month. You would want to pay as much as you can comfortably afford within your budget. And then once that is paid off, that same amount that you were putting on debt number 1, you would move over to debt number 2, and then the same thing would happen to debt number 3. The second debt payoff strategy is called the Debt Snowball strategy. similar than the Avalanche, but a little bit different. Personally, it is one of my favorite ones. When I'm working with clients and they have a bunch of different debts and it becomes very overwhelming, this just makes more psychological sense.
I knew she was going to say that because that's what I was thinking.
There's a lot of things that go into it, like emotions and just how you feel about yourself and self-confidence, guilt, shame. There's a lot of feelings, and it can be very difficult to really do the Debt Avalanche one, even though it makes more logical sense. Of course, attack the one that has the highest interest rate, is charging you the most money. Of course, why wouldn't you want to try to pay that off first? Well, if the example I gave was kind of reversed and the $10,000 loan was charging you 10%, and that was the one that you need to focus on, even though you had two other debts, a $5,000 and a $1,000 debt, it might feel like you're never going to pay off that first really expensive debt. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just focus on paying off that small $1,000 debt first, and then you don't have 3 loans to focus on, you got just 2. Well, that is exactly what the Debt Snowball strategy is all about. It is focusing on paying off your smallest debt first, and then your second smallest, and so on and so forth. For me, this makes sense because it gives you that first little win. If you have been ignoring your debts for a while and you just don't feel like you can do this because you've been living with debt for so long, paying off that smallest debt first will give you that kind of win that you're looking for. It'll give you that extra motivation to keep on going. So typically when I kind of present these two options to my clients, you would probably assume that they would choose the first one. It is very popular, it's very logical, but actually almost everyone chooses the Debt Snowball. There's nothing wrong with choosing one over the other. The whole goal is just to become debt free, so it actually really doesn't matter if you pay a little bit more in interest by doing the Debt Snowball. Again, personal finance is personal. Do whatever makes you feel
okay, I can agree with that.
do whatever strategy you know that you can actually accomplish. If you feel like Debt Avalanche, that is not for me, I don't think I can do that, Debt Snowball sounds a little bit more interesting, then do the Debt Snowball. It doesn't actually matter what anyone else tells you or what anyone else is doing. Do whatever makes the most sense for you. So the last debt strategy is called the Debt Snowflake strategy.
Okay,
so
I don't think I've heard of this one.
You would do in conjunction with the Debt Avalanche or the Debt Snowball strategy. So the Debt Snowflake strategy is pretty straightforward, actually. It just means that whenever you get some unexpected found money, then you don't just spend it or put into savings, you actually use it to pay off your debt more aggressively. So found money can be a lot of different things. If you get a tax refund, if you get some birthday money in the mail, if you get a bonus at work, if you have a side hustle, once in a while you work weekends for some company, you can use that money to pay off your debt. Whatever extra money kind of comes in that you can throw at your debt, that is taking part in the Debt Snowflake strategy. So those are the 3 debt payoff strategies that you should know about. If you are currently dealing with some debt, guess what? You're not alone and you can become debt free too. So many people in the personal finance community have amazing stories of having crazy amounts of debt, like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and being able to pay it off eventually. So no matter how much you owe, don't feel like just because you've been living with debt for so long, that's your life now and you can never get out. There's always a solution. It's really just about educating yourself about your options and then start getting to work. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of sacrifice involved, and you will have to maybe live a little bit leaner than you're used to until you become debt-free or on your way to becoming debt-free. But what I've seen with so many clients is when you do become debt-free or you crush one of those big loans that's been bugging you for so many years, there is no better feeling in the world than having that kind of weight lift off your shoulders.
Right.
So to help you on your debt-free journey, I'm going to include a link in the description of this video to the blog post I wrote about this topic. So if you want to just remind yourself of what I went through and just kind of the ins and outs and see a few examples, you can click on that and check it out.
Okay. I think we've got far enough into this to get the overall gist. It's a pretty short video, pretty to the point video. So I want to kind of real quickly just, go over everything while this thing is coming kind of to its close here. 3 methods. like she said, they all got their merits. Let's first and foremost talk about the debt avalanche. The debt avalanche is basically you go after the debt with the biggest interest rate, and the rationale behind that is that basically interest in a lot of cases, especially high interest, it keeps you in debt a lot longer because again, I talked about this in a video before. Just paying the minimum payments on credit cards or whatever, it keeps you in debt longer because in a lot of times that interest eats up a majority of your payment and only a little bit goes to the principal. So in this debt avalanche strategy, it's kind of looking at that interest and saying, hey, listen, the rationale is if we knock out these higher interest debts, we're in debt less time. Now, the disadvantage of it is sometimes the big boy debts is the ones that have them huge interest rates. And so it's going to take you a long time maybe to knock out your first debt when maybe you got some other debts that are less, and you kind of ignoring them right now because you want to get that interest kind of knocked out. So the debt avalanche kind of addresses the interest issue. Now the second one is this debt snowball method. Now the debt snowball method was made famous by Dave Ramsey in his Total Money Makeover. I don't know if it's a video or whatever or book. I haven't personally read it. Not to say anything's wrong with it. I just haven't read it. But the debt snowball is really popular with a lot of people, and for the reason that the lady cited is why it's so popular, and that is most people, they want instant gratification. They want stuff to happen quickly. So to tell somebody, it makes more sense to pay down those things with the higher interest first, but it might take longer. That's not going to attract the average person. The average person, again, they want that debt gone. Even if all of it isn't gone quickly, they at least want to see some kind of progress. It's just the same thing as if you go into the gym or, whatever. When you go on a long drive, you want to hurry up and get it over. So this is the same kind of concept here with the debt snowball. It's like a psychological thing. You kind of psyching yourself out, giving yourself small wins. So in the example, she had $1,000 debt, $5,000 debt, and $10,000 debt. So in the debt snowball method, you're going to go after the small debt first. Get that win up under your belt, feel good about it. And now instead of 3 debts, you got 2 debts. And it took you, not so long. And then you go to the next one, and then you go to the next one. Now, again, the thing to keep in mind is you're not ignoring the other debts. You still got to pay your other debts. So don't forget that. Please don't forget that part. But, that's the second method, the debt snowball. And that's, again, get you the quick wins. It's a psychological thing. And, apparently the young lady on here, she kind of favors that one due to, it makes sense why she would favor that one or why anyone would favor it. Again, a lot of people want the quick win. So, it's something that would appeal to a lot of people. I personally I'm not going to say I don't like it, but it wasn't for me. I chose a different method. Now, the method I use isn't mentioned here. I'll talk about that in another video. Actually, if you want me to talk about that in my next video, go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know you want me to talk about my specific debt elimination strategy. But finally, let's move on to the third and final. Now, I never heard of it, but it's something that I've thought of before and that I've actually used before, or that I would recommend to people. And that is, the debt snowflake. And the debt snowflake is basically, if you come up on some money unexpectedly, again, your tax refund, well, that's not really unexpected, but, your tax refund, maybe a bonus at work, maybe somebody just send you a couple dollars for your birthday, or, just as a, some kind of luck. I recently had a little stroke of luck myself, and I got a couple dollars sent to me. So the concept behind this is, you get that money, and instead of giving it back, using it to, spend on something you don't need, use that to augment the other 2 strategies, or just, throw that extra money towards a debt. I think that's a pretty good idea. What I would say in terms of that is that extra money, you have to treat that money like it don't exist. In a way, it wasn't there before, so you're not really missing it. So go ahead and use that, to accelerate that debt payoff. And, that might get you those wins a little bit more quickly. And that's what I really like about that Debt Snowflake one. It's a good psychological kind of thing too, just like the Debt Snowball. But, it's more of something, it's money you won't miss, or you shouldn't miss it. And so that's the appeal I have to that one. So all of them have their good points. Some of them have their not so great points, in my opinion. But it's just my opinion. Like she said, personal finance is personal finance. You do what you feel is best for you and your household. Now, again, I will talk about my personal debt elimination strategy that I used, and my strategy actually allowed me to knock out about, I think it was about $75,000, $80,000 of debt in about a year and a half. So, I mean, I think it's a really great strategy, but again, it's up to you. If you guys want to see that, again, comment below. I'll definitely drop that video and put y'all in front of that information. But for now, hey, look, thank you again so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please, again, do me a huge favor, smash that like button and comment below your own personal thoughts about what you saw. And as always, I love you. God loves you. He smiles when he sees you, and he sees you all the time, so he's always smiling. So why aren't we? Hey, you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. God bless you all. Gone.
Damn, I ain't been broke in a minute. Damn, I ain't